It has been 6 days since my last upload that absolutely blew up. 6 days ago, I posted a video talking about how $150,000 a year was enough income to get by and have a family on. After evaluating hundreds of comments between that video and another video that I had commented on, I am here to firmly state most of you deserve to be poor. I state this not that because you may be a bad person or that you don't work hard, but because you're in my comments section arguing that you want to continue shopping at luxury grocery stores instead of making a sacrifice and going to Aldi. You're in my comments section arguing about how if your partner's making $30,000 a year, then that justifies $24,000 a year in childcare instead of having them stay home and take care of the child. You're in my comments section thinking that everyone lives in California or Los Angeles or New York City. You're in my comments section saying that you forgot to include these taxes or this expense or this expense. I over-exaggerated on the mortgage and other things so that it compensated for those little things.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You gotta say some things sometimes that ruffle some feathers, and I agree with them. What do you think? I want to ask that up front before the video goes any further. Get down in the comment section and try to do this. Don't look at color. Just close your eyes and listen to what is being said and try not to be triggered. The reason I agree is this. Just yesterday, I received a comment, and we'll put it up on the screen somewhere here, editor. And I'm going to black out the commenter's name because it's not about the person. It's about the mindset. And when you listen to what is being said, he's 100% correct. I bring information to you all about becoming a homeowner if that's what you want to do. And you ought to see the number of comments stating everybody doesn't want to be a homeowner. I understand that. The numbers show that. And if you don't want to be a homeowner, why are you so emotionally triggered? This goes to his point about certain dollar amounts that people are making and how folks are saying that they can't live on said dollar amounts. And it blows my mind with all of the tangents that people go on. I'll restate because it happens a lot with my videos. Well, you're basing, or the people that are commenting will tell you, well, in New York or California. Well, where do you live? See, you need to base these decisions off of where you live. They'll start trying to come up with some intricate tax situation that is not applicable to themselves. You see, a lot of outside things that will justify you not having to deal with your situation. And so he's making a bold statement, but the poor will be with you always. When I used to have the mindset that a lot of folks that comment on these videos have, I call it a victim mindset. It does not negate all of the social injustices that we face on a daily basis. It does not negate that there are evil people out here. It doesn't negate those things. And it also will not absolve you nor me of the responsibility and accountability that we have to be good stewards over what it is that we have. Because the further down the road I get with creating this content and helping people get onto the housing ladder, the biggest thing that I see with folks that have not made the mental shift to, you know what? I have to continue to increase the product that I bring to the market myself. I have to get better. There is no nirvana. If you believe in the scriptures, heaven is to come. It ain't here yet. And if you believe in the scriptures and study, everybody's got a job in heaven. Nobody's on retirement and vacation. That is a concept and a construct that has been developed for thieves. This is rude speech. I'm trying to get your attention to evoke you from emotional to thinking about what's being said. Let me give you an example, personal example. 2003 to 2007, 8-ish. I was a pharmaceutical rep for a company called Behringer Ingelheim, making great money, free vehicle, a lot of perks, great insurance, the whole nine. Had a young family at the time, son and a daughter. The reason I say that is this: I was an early adapter, a leader in this side hustle type thing that a lot of people have been exposed to over the last 5 or 6 years. Because at that time, I was a loan officer and I had my own company. Now, you have to go back in history because Bush #2 in his second term, it was a push for everybody to become homeowners. And so we're riding that wave in that the environment is set up for people to become homeowners. And so all the tailwinds were in place that if you were in a position like myself, you were making a lot of money. And this is prior to Dodd-Frank or 2008, when a lot of the big banks started failing, and everybody uses that year as a landmark for when the housing crash started. But it actually started happening mid 2005 up to 2008. So I'm painting the picture for you. And the reason I'm painting that picture is this, and hopefully it will help a lot of you guys as far as it comes to money and not deserving to be poor, having a poor mindset. So at that time, I really didn't want to work for anybody. And a lot of you out there that comment remind me of myself back in the day, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur. We're a certain type of people. Okay. At that time, I didn't have any OGs or mentors or anybody that had experienced a turn downward in the marketplace years before, because it's all a pattern, right? And so I didn't have anybody telling me what I tell a lot of the folks that I get to speak into their lives now. Hey, man, you stay on that job, that steady Eddie, that W-2, that great job that you have with all the benefits and the income and the whole nine, until it's just unbearable where you can't do both. And you've set yourself up financially to handle things going forward. I didn't have anybody telling me that. So everything is good. Everything is booming, making hand over fist. Well, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know what was coming down the line. And I liken that to the pandemic, because a lot of you guys went through the same thing, right? And so I left the pharmaceutical job. Now, here's where it's going to tie into what the gentleman is talking about on the video. Well, my mindset was, when we got married, my wife was going to be a domestic engineer to watch our children. Now, that's the first thing that a lot of people that have children don't want to admit, because that means we're going to live on one income. And so this is some of the stuff that he's speaking about in his video, is because nobody wants to be honest with themselves and understand that I have to live on less than, because everything that you see shows you that you need to have more and more. And that's not where it's at. Where it's at is less than, being a good steward over what you have. So the fact that now we're on one income, and my wife is college educated, wants to go out and work, things of that nature. Shout out to my wife, because she was a wife. That's a whole nother video. And let me be the lead, right? Now, fast forward, 2005, things started looking shaky, man. And then boom, the subprime thing hit the fan. What is the subprime thing? I got a video on the channel. I'm going to give you the TLDR, too long, didn't read version. Here's the deal. Because of the administration and the policies that were written for everyone to have a home, there's going to be good intent but bad actors. And so you had what's called hybrid ARM loans. So there were 228, right? 30 years, 327, 30 years. But the first part of the loan was based on an introductory rate that would adjust to an adjustable rate. Not only that, was that going on, but you had a lot of very loose qualification criteria. If you could fog a mirror, a lot of folks were getting loans. And not only was the professionals, the folks that were creating these loans, greedy, but you got to have, it takes two to tango. The buyers were lying too. They know that they didn't have the money to get this stuff. So this goes to what the gentleman is saying. It takes two, and I have to take accountability for what it is that I've done, because if no one was going to borrow the money and get those loans at that time that they knew they couldn't afford, then we wouldn't have had a crash. I digress. Back to the story. It's getting worse and worse, right? Now, I left the pharmaceutical gig. I'm thinking, man, it's all good. We making this money. Okay. Then boom, these banks started failing. And when I tell you a lot of the investors were going out of business, loans weren't being funded, it was crazy work. Now, I'm going to give you something else. Some of you guys may be dealing with stress and it's manifesting in other areas. Let me give you an example. You've been on the sideline. You've been trying to do the least that you can do, right? Because you don't want to work and this, that, and the third. And that has caught up with you because of the technology, and the system has changed. In 2020, there was a paradigm shift, if you didn't realize it or not. And you can't live on $200 anymore, because inflation, the cost of things are increasing. There's more people that need the same services, and the dollar, our currency, is not buying as much as it used to. Now, my wife did an excellent job. Everything that my kids have turned out to be, first and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Jehovah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just to put that out there, that's what I believe in, and the scriptures. But on earth, folks doing it, the people that you see, shout out to the wife, right? Because I was doing my thing, trying to make the money come in. She's making the money do what it needs to do at home. But even then, even in that turmoil from 2008 to 2013, stressed out, man, stressed out. But keeping it on the inside, God was good. And we still made more than the average Joe. You see what I'm saying? But we lived beneath our means. Let me give you some examples of that. Vacations were driving, spending a lot of time with one another. My son loved Monopoly, Connect Four, Battleship. What is that? Boggle. I remember we like to play Rock Band. I spent a lot of time with my kids and my family, right? Also during that time, taught my son and daughter how to enjoy their own company, right? Because the house that we lived in, 1,700 square feet, and I lived in that house for 17 years. We lived in that house for 17 years before I moved. I could have moved several times before then. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying all of this to give you an insight into why this gentleman is saying what he's saying. And a lot of you have to say, you know what? Have I made a bad decision? And then if I made that bad decision, I can't wallow in it, but how is it coming out? What problems am I creating for myself and or my family as a result of it? And then what am I going to do to change? What I did was, just to go back a little bit, I had to double down. I didn't jump from 15 different things, but I was like, you know what? I made the decision to go into this business. I understood that, you know what? This is a cleaning out, because there were a lot of people, just like you saw prior to the pandemic, when the system did everything and it did. And the biggest thing I did, I said, you know what? I have to educate myself in this industry. That's that 10,000 hour thing. How does this money work? How does the bond market work? And are there patterns? And so I even started, I was always a radio guy, but before podcasting was podcasting, I used to listen to a lot of people to learn, to sharpen my toolkit, so that when the opportunity came back, I would be ready. You see, a lot of you guys are running from pillar to post, pillar to post, pillar to post, and you're busy, but it's not productive. Hopefully this is making sense as well. And so we get to 2013 and things turn. You see what I'm saying? But you got to go through it to get to it. And you have to learn all the way through. And during that education, I went from a poor mindset to one of a wealth mindset, because now I'm preparing and not reacting. A lot of you guys are reacting when you see rents going up again. Well, the landlords are evil and corporations are evil, and you need to invest millions of dollars so I can live comfortably, but I only want to pay $800. You see what I'm saying? It don't work like that, and it's never going to work like that, and you're going to continue to be poor. And this is what he's saying, regardless of how much money you're making, because you don't want to deal with yourself, your stewardship, right? So back to me, 17 years, same house. Kids went to the same schools, know the same people. Back to my kids, we used to give them $500 a year, and that was their money to do whatever they wanted to do, okay? Because we don't do all of the holidays and all that kind of stuff. Not telling you what to do, I'm telling you what we did, because if you think about it, kids spend a lot of your money. When you start looking at these budgets, when I look at these bank statements and see all of the activities and all of the stuff and the big car payments and all the student loans and all the stuff, you're throwing that tantrum because you don't want to be a good steward. What you want to say is, you know what? I went to college. I deserve this job. Well, nobody ever told you that. That was never in any documents that you signed. You see, you have to say, okay, am I going to go get out of the workforce for 4 to 6 years and borrow, not invest? You're borrowing all this money. What's the reputation of the school? Is this career even going to be in play before I do all these things? You see, you're going from a poor mindset to a wealthy mindset, because now I'm planning, I'm going to do my due diligence, so on and so forth. And for those of you who have not had this education, it's all good, right? Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. Today is all you got. If you listen to me today, I was sent your way, right? Now you have somebody that can talk to you about these things. The question is, are you going to hear or listen, right? Because you know people by what they do, not what we say. Actions speak louder than words. My daughter told me, Dad, 90% of communication is nonverbal, right? So it's back to the scriptures. You judge a tree by the fruits that it bears. I digress. Let me move forward. In summation, and the reason I told you that story and why I think it resonates with what this gentleman is saying is this. You got to make bold statements that tick you off to get your attention. And for those of you out there, 6 out of 10 of you that traditionally buy homes, those are the folks that traditionally have more access to wealth, whatever that is for you. I'm not even concerned about a number, because wealth means something completely different to me, but money is something that we all got to deal with. But in the words of Biggie, more money, more problems. The reason it's more problems is because of lifestyle creep. Is because you have not disciplined yourself. I want to know what you guys think. Am I tripping? Is this guy tripping? Is he a racist? Am I greedy? Or have decided to throw a tantrum and not deal with everyday stuff, and as a result, you have become poor. Your mindset is poor, and your living is poor. All these things are poor. If that's you, I want to challenge you today, man. Change. A living dog, as the scripture said, is better than a dead lion. You know why? Because you can change, right? If you want to. Hopefully this was a blessing to you, a little bit from the norm, but this resonated. It sizzled in my spirit when I heard it. If you say, you know what? I want to get onto the housing ladder, Robert, and I like how you get down. I feel like we could talk. I appreciate that. And this is what I would say your next step is. Schedule a free consultation. Let's have a conversation. Let me hear what it is that you're wanting to accomplish as it pertains to home ownership. And if there's a fit, I love to help you. And those that have allowed me and my team to do so, they are not disappointed. And that contact information is in the description for the top pinned comment of this video. Check out these next videos here to continue your education if you're not ready for the consultation. And for the rest of you guys, be good to one another. Let grace abound. Indeed, y'all stay blessed.